And welcome to your Newsmax Daily for Thursday, December the 26th, 2024. National Candy Cane Day, meaning it is now okay to eat the candy canes off the Christmas tree. And I hope you had a very Merry Christmas. Today is the second day of the 12 days of Christmas. I know a lot of retailers offered 12 days of Christmas deals before Christmas, but the 12 days of Christmas actually begins on Christmas with the birth of Jesus Christ and runs through January 5th with the coming of the three wise men, the night of the Epiphany, also known as Three Kings Day. In Italy, it's also known as Little Christmas, celebrated by a lot of Italian Americans here in the United States, like my family. For Jews around the world, today is the second day of Hanukkah. And while President Biden and President-elect Trump were marking Christmas here in the United States, Russian President Vladimir Putin chose Christmas as the day to launch more missile strikes on Ukraine, specifically their power grid, leaving thousands of people without electricity in freezing weather on Christmas Day. Newsmax spoke with a pastor in Ukraine yesterday about the attack.
How concerning is this to Ukraine's infrastructure that nearly 3 years into the war, they continue attacking your means for energy?
Oh, yeah. This night, it was a horrible night for all of us, and including our kids, because last night it was a Christmas Eve, and we was on the bomb shelter because they tried to attack last night, especially energy sector. And right now, in many places of Ukraine, we don't have electricity. In our church, we have just a generator, and it's a big challenge for all of us all the time, because they try to strike, especially on the holidays, especially places of hospitals, especially places of schools, especially they try to attack church buildings, also energy sector in the very special days like Christmas, like Easter, like Day of Independence, other celebrations. And right now it's a very critical situation because country do not have enough power, energy. And last night, early morning at 4 a.m., it was a massive attack on the western Ukraine, where we have just a transition energy hub, Burштyn transition energy hub, and they attacked that place, which united Ukraine not just with Ukrainian nuclear stations, but also with European energy stations. And it is a very, very big challenge for us. Please pray for us. We just want have a holy season, just want to be at the churches with our kids.
That's Ukrainian Pastor Pavlo Ugurian on Newsmax on Christmas Day. President Biden, who spent part of his Christmas Day making phone calls from the White House to U.S. military personnel worldwide, extending Christmas greetings, called Russia's attack outrageous and promised more aid to Ukraine. President-elect Donald Trump, who issued a series of Christmas Day social media posts on X and on Truth Social, including one that said the 37 inmates who've had their death sentences set aside by President Biden should not have a Merry Christmas and should go to hell. He also said that he will put an end to the Russian-Ukraine war. More from Newsmax host Bob Brooks.
Besides tonight being Christmas and the first night of Hanukkah, it's also 50 days since Election Day. 50 days since Americans across the country soundly rejected the Democrats and fully embraced Donald Trump as the 47th president of the United States. He won the popular vote, all the battleground stage, a true mandate with the House and Senate. Despite all of that, they're still concerned about Trump being able to implement his policy and get his nominees for government positions through to the finish line. And it's not just about concern and resistance from the Democrat Party. It's also from Republicans who clearly haven't got the message. I think they're living in the past. Confirmation hearings are set to begin shortly after the new year. Pete Hegseth's hearing for defense secretary is reportedly set for January 14th. But despite the mandate Trump was given by the American people, some Senate Republicans, they could derail his nominations. Elon Musk has been sounding the alarms about this from the start, warning Republicans against standing in Trump's way or in his. But yet, there are 9 Republican senators who are on the radar expected to vote against Trump's wishes, including former Senate GOP Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Mitch being the highlight of this monologue tonight. He recently talked about this very issue in a Financial Times article and apparently thinks there's a major issue with the current state of the GOP under Trump's leadership. They discussed with him his plans for the last 2 years of his term, and apparently this is what Mitch McConnell thinks. We're in a very, very dangerous world right now, reminiscent of before World War II. He says, even the slogan is the same, America first. That's what they said in the 1930s. If I had to guess, millions of Americans have a very different view of the term America first, that it simply means what it says. Putting our country first, Mitch, spending our tax dollars on ways to improve our way of life, not wasting our money on a border crisis that should have never happened or funding endless wars with what seems to be no real solution in sight other than waiting for Trump to come in and fix it. And that's why Trump chose people like Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., and many others to make this country the #1 priority. The Financial Times talks about this with McConnell, the wars we're involved in. Here's his view on everything. McConnell is a strong believer in the Ronald Reagan view of the U.S. role in the world, rather than the Trump one. To most American voters, I think the simple answer is, let's stay out of it. That was the argument made in the 1930s, and that just won't work, he says. Thanks to Reagan, we know what does work, not just saying peace through strength, but demonstrating it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see it that way. Trump showed extremely strong deterrence during his first term. Anyone remember Iran's General Soleimani, the ISIS leader al-Baghdadi? They're dead. Anyone remember the visit he paid to North Korea, Little Rocket Man? What happened after that? Kim Jong-un stopped shooting rockets. He showed up, said, hey, Kim, what's up? Better cut it out, and he did. And anyone remember this? During Trump's first presidency, we had a period of relative world peace. Trump's Ukraine envoy reporting this today that Ukraine was hit with a Christmas Day attack, showing once again that Russia is unrelenting in targeting civilians. They're not afraid of Joe Biden's America. But Trump has said he's going to end the war on day one, and that cannot come soon enough. Even before Trump is in office, he's getting things done on the world stage. He went to France for the reopening of the Notre Dame Cathedral, but he was also working while he was there. He was meeting with world leaders. Here was the headline. Trump is welcomed by Macron to Paris with presidential pomp and circumstance, joined by Zelensky, Volodymyr Zelensky, for their talks. He also met with Prince William when he was there, and apparently it went pretty well. Prince William turned into a fanboy. That's the reports when he met Donald Trump in Paris, according to that viral video of their body language. He's also invited China's President Xi to the inauguration. Xi likely won't attend, but I'm just having a hard time seeing how Trump is this isolationist, which he was painted as in that Financial Times article with McConnell. When he's not even president yet, he's already around the world working with other leaders. And I think we all would be stunned if he abandoned our allies around the world. Make them pay their fair shares, yes, but abandon, no, absolutely not.
That's Bob Brooks, co-host of American Agenda. One of the many people appointed by Donald Trump is former ambassador to Germany, Ric Grenell, who has been nominated to serve as special missions envoy.
Well, is anyone surprised? Joe Biden hasn't spoken with Vladimir Putin in more than 3 years. They haven't even spoken. Think about that. Donald Trump is somebody who just believes that you should speak to people in order to try to calm the situation down. It's very plain. It's very common sense. Speaking to someone doesn't mean that you're caving into them. It means that you're being very direct and you're defending America. And that's what Donald Trump does the best. He'll speak to anyone. And we saw that with Kim Jong-un, where Donald Trump went there, looked him in the eye, shook his hand, and said, look, this is what America expects. And people ultimately adjust their policies and their actions according to strength. And Donald Trump is the greatest person for pushing out the America First, strong messaging to everyone, our allies, our friends, and others who need to hear it.
Yes, and even Xi Jinping has an invitation to the inauguration. You're right. It's talking. It's keeping, channels open. When we look at Venezuela, some say what happened in Syria and the fall of Assad is a warning for Maduro of what may happen. So what do you foresee with your work in Venezuela, Rick, as you're kind of tasked with that as one of the hotspots there, a special envoy?
Well, you won't be surprised that I'm going to hold back a little and talk to President Trump. We're just in the information gathering stage right now, talking to a lot of people. I had a long conversation with President Trump about what he believes should be happening. And so we're going to continue to information gather. And on January 20th, when President Trump takes over, it's going to be a glorious day. And I think so many people around the world are waiting for January 20th. When he takes over, then we'll begin to implement these policies, but not until then.
Former U.S. Ambassador to Germany, Ric Grenell, now appointed as U.S. Special Missions Envoy. Newsmax host Joe Pinion, filling in for Carl Higbie on Christmas, is also counting down the days until Inauguration Day.
Naughty or nice, folks. Today is a Christmas miracle 4 years in the making. Now, in 26 days, Joseph Robinette Biden is out and Donald J. Trump is back in the saddle of American leadership. Goodbye, America last. Hello, America first, once again. Now, some have worked hard to rewrite America's rudderless ship, and others have worked overtime to keep us from ever being able to make America great again. And so this Christmas, I thought it might make sense to separate the wheat from the chaff and the naughty from the nice on a day where we give thanks for the grace of God, the miracle of Christ, and all of which has helped define American exceptionalism. And so, of course, at the top of the naughty list, it is that Wizard of Oz trio, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Charles Ellis Schumer. Not a heart, a brain, or an ounce of courage to be discovered between the three of them. This team-turned-yellow brick road nightmare, they brought us Chinese spy balloons in the skies, CCP police stations in our neighborhoods, and then told us everything would be okay. This crackpot team brought us a disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, handed the entire country to the terrorist organization, the Taliban, cost us the lives of 13 American heroes, and then had the unmitigated gall to call all of these failures a success. These foreign policy geniuses reversed every single Trump immigration policy, unlocked America's front door, watched as 2 million gotaways invaded our nation, 8 million border encounters, and called all of it a figment of our imagination. They let Vladimir Putin hack the colonial pipeline, let Putin hack our beef supply. They blew up the U.S. economy and then did not try to blame it on the rain, but rather Donald J. Trump. The list goes on. There is a cold place in hell for what they have done to our country. I have the power to give them right now 3 lumps of coal and pray to God we never hear from them in government leadership ever again. All right, next up on that list, the spies who lie. The 51 former members of U.S. intelligence that told the entire world that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. And earlier this year, we found out what we already suspected, that the FBI had authenticated that laptop 11 months before any of them put their name or pen to paper to sign one of the largest lies told in election history. They used their proximity to our government to try and influence an election. They told us as much themselves under oath before Congress. We can only give them 51 lumps of coal, but there is a criminal referral with their names on it sitting on the desk of the Attorney General for the United States of America, and I'm pretty sure Pam Bondi is getting ready to dust it off the minute she is confirmed as our nation's next Attorney General. And of course, moving forward, is it even possible to make a naughty list without lawyers, or in this case, government attorneys who believe themselves to be above the law? Alvin Bragg, who cooked up a legal theory so bad he filed charges against President Trump before he had identified an underlying crime. and then got the judge in that case to agree that none of the members of the jury had to agree on what the underlying crime even was. Tish James, who campaigned on getting Donald Trump and then used a legal theory and a legal statute that has never been used in combination in the history of New York State to pursue a prosecution that defies all logic. And of course, who can forget Jack Smith, that mad dog with a law license who changed the pronouns of his scam legal theory and briefing to refile his bogus legal case against President Trump in an effort to cannonball the news cycle in the final days of the 2024 election. Good old Merrick Garland, he's another one. The Grinch who tried to steal the Constitution, the would-be Supreme Court justice to try to put soccer moms in Virginia on a terrorist watch list. What more can you say about these people? I wish I had more hands. I wish I had more power. All we can do is give them a satchel of coal and a promise that we will wait in the tall grass and we will never forget what they have done to our country until they are all held accountable.
Newsmax host Joe Pinion dishing out the coal on the Christmas broadcast. And on Christmas Day, President-elect Trump announced his pick for U.S. Ambassador to Panama, Miami-Dade County Commissioner Kevin Marino Cabrera. Yes, another Floridian. Trump announced the pick on Truth Social, as he has done with all of his picks. Again, saying Panama is a country that has been ripping us off on the Panama Canal, far beyond their wildest dreams. End quote. Marino Cabrera had also worked on the Trump campaign in Florida, which, you know, was hugely successful. He's from Miami-Dade County, helping Trump win the previously very blue Miami-Dade County. And for more on the Panama Canal, former Pennsylvania Senator Ric Santorum on Wake Up America.
That's what we're trying to unpack from these 2 pages of Truth Social posts that he put out. Even Wayne Gretzky for Prime Minister of Canada saying, quote, he could win easily without even campaigning. He seems to be trolling Canada pretty hard. We thought it was a one-off at one point, Senator Santorum, but he continues with this, trolling Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, who just visited Mar-a-Lago a couple weeks back, now touting a hockey icon, Wayne Gretzky, as Prime Minister. Joking or not, what is Trump doing politically?
Yeah, my good friend Selena Zito, I think, said it best. You should not take Trump literally, but you should take him seriously. And a lot of what he says, you can't. It is tongue in cheek, or it's Trumpian just the way he does it. But the point that he's raising is a serious point. The point of the Panama Canal and China's influence there and growing influence is a serious issue to the economic and national security of our country. Greenland is a very important source of rare earth minerals and other things that are important, and they're obviously geopolitical things. I understand the Danes, who Denmark owns Greenland, but this is not a wild idea. This is a serious thing that needs to be considered. As far as Canada, I think he's just poking Justin Trudeau, and he sees him as a leader who's failed and who's on his way out, and who was never kind to Donald Trump. And to me, that's probably not one you take seriously. It is just trolling for his own enjoyment, I think.
Former Senator Ric Santorum on Newsmax. On Wall Street this morning, the stock markets reopened in the red, with the Dow Industrials down more than 100 points. Cryptocurrencies were also pulling back, with Bitcoin down to 96,000, Ether a little below 3,400, XRP, Solana, and all the others lower as well. Be sure to keep up with all of today's news and breaking developments on Newsmax, N2, and Newsmax.com, beginning each and every day with Wake Up America, National Report, American Agenda, Carl Higbie, Bianca De La Garza, Rob Schmidt tonight, Finnerty, Greg Kelly, and much more. I'm Tony Marino. Thank you, as always, for listening to the Newsmax Daily. Greatly appreciate that. Enjoy the rest of your day and your holiday vacation if you are on vacation. And keep on fighting the good fight.
News breaks every minute, every day. You need the app, the Newsmax app. Find it free on your smartphone store. Then watch us anytime, anywhere.
Hey, it's Jerry Callahan from The Callahan Show. You can listen to us every day. We react to the latest news, politics, sports, and all the madness in the world. I'll give you my opinion with a little edge, a little attitude. I'm an unapologetic right-winger, trapped behind enemy lines in deep blue Boston, so I'm used to taking on the mainstream media mob. You can hear us anywhere you get your podcast, or you can listen every day at newsmax.com/listen.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.